back of the Japan bench. A lot of support from back home coming into this, and a long trip has been made from Japan to be here this week, but they have been rewarded with a much kinder trip across the Sea of Japan to the Republic of Korea for next year's games. Uehara trying to force one through, still not dealt with efficiently by the Czech Republic, who are trying to hold firm in more or less a line of red in front of Vapenka's goal. But the Czechs now can slither forward, and it's Klima who's got support up alongside him as well. It's not effectively controlled there by Habel, but the puck is dead in Shinobu Fukushima's crease, and therefore a face-off will be had now in the Czech Republic offensive zone. Safe to say that the tension from earlier on today in the Sweden-Germany game has well and truly evaporated. You get the feeling now that people can sit back a little bit and enjoy this game rather than leaning forward, biting the fingernails, whether you're watching on your screen at home or, of course, the people in the stadium as well can enjoy this game for what it is rather than worry about too much who's going to come out on top. If you weren't watching earlier, then I highly recommend you watch it back on YouTube when you get a chance. Sweden against Germany, an absolute classic. Only one of the two were going to be able to progress from this qualification tournament to the Holy Grail of PyeongChang 2018, and it was Sweden that succeeded by 4 goals to 1. It sounds like a comfortable victory, but 2 of those goals that came after Germany sacrificed their goaltender Simon Kuchs to go all out for an equaliser. Germany just needed a point from that game, but they came away with absolutely nothing. Sweden made it hard work for themselves, but they will be there next year alongside these two nations. Habel trying to squeeze one in from a tight angle, and it's worked away by Uehara, who is a player that, when you look at the stats, may not feature too heavily in either an offensive sense or a defensive sense, but he is a key cog in the Japan system that keeps them ticking over. He is brilliant now, being able to take the puck in a defensive position and then progress it forwards into an attacking sense. And he does really set Japan on their way. Japan have a very solid team, and a full complement of stars for them on the ice here today as well. Definitely meeting their match though in Czech Republic, who will be reaching their 3rd successive Paralympic Winter Games. Bit of a blip for them to be featuring in last year's B pool. They expected nothing else but gold from that tournament in Japan. They actually won that competition without conceding a goal along the way. The only goals they've conceded so far this week came against Sweden and Germany, 2 teams that featured in the A pool World Championships. So a bit of work for the Czech Republic. Despite the fact they won both games and came through ultimately unscathed, they still have to work on their defensive abilities ahead of next year's games, which will be a whole different level of para ice hockey. Canada and the USA, formidable sides. Republic of Korea, dark horses, the hosts. They qualify automatically as hosts of next year's games, but by goodness me, in the World Championships they certainly showed they were there on merit as well, picking up a medal in the process. Norway, they are ever present in the world of para ice hockey. Italy also at next year's games. As well as Sweden, Czech Republic and Japan, of course. So it'll be a very interesting Games next year. And I hope that this week, whether it's the first time you've ever watched para ice hockey or it may be the millionth time, although I highly doubt that, you'll be encouraged, your appetite will have been whetted, and you'll be keen for March to come around as soon as possible, so you can once again get your para ice hockey fix. Uiara trying to slot one through. It's well dealt with initially, but it's sent straight back for Uiara again, who's just about keeping his balance. He does really well and manages to execute a shot as well, which was fizzing in towards Verpenka in the Czech Republic goal. Not only did he get something behind it, he held it as well, because Horry, you could see the number 2, was flirting around the goal and was ready for anything that dropped. Maybe final day, but I'm sure there are people out there watching para ice hockey for the first time. Any questions, get in touch, get involved as well. At Para Ice Hockey is the Twitter handle, with the hashtag being Ostersund 2017. Even start in this fixture, the Czech Republic marginally having more territorial advantage, but Japan working their way into this game in an offensive sense as well now. Uiara may go for one, does, it's low, and meat and drink for Verpenka, who made that look very comfortable indeed. Of course, low pucks flying in towards your goal seem comfortable with the amount of padding that goaltenders wear, but it can very easily sneak its way through your sledge and go into the back of your own net. Puck again trying to be worked back for Uiara, but Czech Republic come out on top with Pala, who switches it to Krupicka. Slammed in towards the board on the near side by Sudo. A penalty will be coming up very soon against the Czech Republic. If Horry doesn't get there, I don't think he will either. Wagner's looking pretty sharp, however Horry will be the quickest to it. A whistle has blown, however, and the penalty will indeed be given for that infringement a couple of moments ago, and the player being ordered off for interference. Trying to see who it is. No one in red coming towards the penalty box at the moment. Someone's got to eventually. Well, whoever it is, they are coming across very slowly to the near side. And it's actually gone against Japan, so interference against Masaharu Kumagai.
2 minutes. Interference.
Well, that's interesting that the referee allowed the game to continue when Japan had possession. Maybe he was waiting to see if the Czechs could recycle possession when it was played forward and make something of it, but nevertheless, 2 minutes for Kumagai in the penalty box, and the Czechs in the first opportunity with a power play. Kubec forced back. Kubec's actually one of the highest point scorers at the tournament this week, and he's registered as a defender. Also number 2 for Japan. Wataru Horry is a prominent talisman as well, with 5 assists and 2 goals. And he's a defender. Geyer, very much an attacker. Arcing round the goal, trying to make space for the shot. Goes for a nice little attempt with the left blade. Sneak it under his sledge. Very much epitomises the ambidextrous stick handling that para ice hockey promotes, Mikael Geyer, because whenever you see the number 74 on the puck, he'll play it off his left stick onto his right. Very difficult for defenders and goaltenders alike to read the direction of the puck and be able to guess where it's about to be fired from next. Here's Havel. 30 seconds left of the power play for the Czech Republic. Geyer again. Got it on his right blade this time. He's got two men to his right. One of them is Kubek. Back for Geyer, and somehow he couldn't stick it home. Well, a very uncharacteristic miss from Mikael Geyer there, who loves playing against Japan. He scored 5 in the B-Pool final last year in that 6-0 thrashing of the Japanese, and probably should have notched one onto his goal tally here as well. He's already got 3 this week. That should have been a 4th. Abel close to getting on the loose puck, but credit to Fukushima, who was beaten all ends up there. The puck was behind him, but he responded well to grasp onto the puck like his child there before anyone in Czech Republic red could have a second bite of the cherry. 10 seconds now of the power play. Well negotiated by Japan, just the one scare there. Geyer's effort, Lady Luck was definitely on Koji Nakakita's side, but Kumagai is back on the ice. And once again, it's 5-on-5. Good battling on the far side by Annika. Tries to squeeze it in towards Vapenka's goal crease. Vapenka alert to the danger and stops it in its tracks. You do get the sense with the atmosphere in the arena that there isn't that much pressure on either outfit. Of course, a gold medal around your neck is always nice. Something to hang on the mantelpiece, but teams came here this week for a top 3 spot for PyeongChang. And these two teams have already succeeded in that sense. Gold medal will now be a bonus. Kubek bearing down, could give the Czech Republic first blood. And how about that from Kumagai? Well, don't tell him that this game doesn't matter. He was back there, committed and forceful in the challenge on Kubek, who must have thought he was in the clear with only Fukushima to beat. Excellent stuff from Kumagai, who has been so prevalent in front of goal for Japan with his 4 goals. Saving a goal for his team there. There is Kumagai. Slams it into the corner. And that will roll all the way across to Dolajal on the near side. Shafranek repels it with interest and pings it to the other side now. Kubek. Good interception. Slip forward as well for Hori. Hori's got Kumagai in the centre if he can find him. He was too occupied by the red jersey in front of him there, was Hori, and unable to supply the feed. Still an opportunity for Japan though, a lovely reverse pass. Finds Yuiara, who collides into Dolajal. Good end-to-end feel about this game now, beginning to open up. There's Krapicka. Just guiding the puck nicely into his midst. And now surveying the scene for an option. Looks to dump one into the corner. Yuiara there first, and he's a very small player, Yuiara. Upper body strength, a big part of para ice hockey, and he lacks the physical presence that a lot of other players do on the ice. Doesn't let it get in his way, however. Kumagai, lovely rebound off the board on the far side. He had an option inside of him, which was Yoshikawa. He's got it now, but probably not in as favourable position as he could have had it a couple of moments ago. Yoshikawa fires it off Wagner, comes back for Yoshikawa, does it? Raul was in there, collides with Wagner in the process, but the most important thing was getting the puck away as far as the Czech Republic are concerned. Still inside their territory now with 5 minutes left of the first period. We're still goalless. Czech Republic with the best chance of the game. It's loose from Vapenka. Annika well wide. It's always going to be difficult first time to not only propel yourself forward to the puck, but then steady yourself and wrap the blade around it from a pretty tight angle. Habel, no one in red up with him. Sudo. Kodoma for Japan. Annika. Yoshikawa is on the far side, but an impossible task for Annika there, with Habel bearing down on him. Now Sudo. Klima closing it down like the puck's his prey, and he forces Sudo into a slam forward, which doesn't go to a Japan teammate. Chance for the Czech Republic to turn things over into an attack now. Habel. Good strides from him to get onto the puck, and a good supply as well for Quebec. He's got Gear up with him. Here is Gear now. Collides into Sudo. There is always that last line of defence for Japan. And he is ever so solid, as he always seems to be. Big mesh of bodies on the far side that ultimately disintegrates into a battle between Sudo and Geyer. Sudo on top, but only supplies it into the centre for Dolezal. Game a bit scrappy now, with a good tempo to it nonetheless. Ori, you can tell when Japan get the puck in their own territory, they are wanting to play out. However, there is no option in front of them, apart from the red shirts of Czech Republic. Klima. Checked by Uehara, but still finds Szafranek. Szafranek is through, not a great angle. Fires it straight into Fukushima. The puck then goes loose, but the whistle had already blown from the officials. Szafranek there did well to steady himself. Of course, so much momentum as he went towards the goal line. Had to check back and squeeze it from a hard angle. There's the earlier challenge from Kumagai, which was absolutely superb. Look at that. Managing not only to physically put off Quebec, but to get a stick on the end of the puck as well. Uehara on a carousel momentarily, eventually steadies himself. Kumagai, Japan looking dangerous. Hori, there's space in the middle, but there's too much weight on the pass forward towards Takahashi. Didn't let it up, however. Czech Republic there had a 4-on-2 in their favour, which they didn't make the most of. They had a player offside as well. Szafranek trying to zip his way forward. Kumagai picks his pocket and looks to surpass Wagner as well. Slams one in from a very ambitious angle. He wasn't even trying to rebound it off the backboard there, Kumagai. He tried to go himself. And Vapenka would have been very disappointed with himself had he let that one slip. Nil-nil. Being pretty relentless, however. 2 minutes remaining. Neither of these two superior outfits break the deadlock before the intermission arrives. Habel. Klima. Lovely approach play from the Czech Republic, but Habel left it for Geyer. Those two were on the wrong wavelength. Klima. And a heavy contact on the far side. Physicality a big part of Japan's play. They love a good forecheck. Would have been interesting if this fixture was played out earlier on in the week. Of course, the organisers have no idea who is going to be where in the top 3 or top 5 positions come the end of the week, but this game would have been a very interesting benchmark had it been played at the start of the week, and mentally it really affected the side that came worse off, because these two fancied as favourites coming in to this round-robin tournament. With an early defeat, could have stalled them in their tracks, but on their way, they've already played the bronze medalists from the B-Pool World Championships, whom they would have expected to beat in Slovakia, and they beat them pretty convincingly as well, both teams. Sweden and Germany, you could say, both demoralised from their World Championship campaigns in the A pool. So it's been nice for those two teams we have in front of us now to get them fixtures out of the way, come through all 3 games each unscathed, and are now competing in this final match, the finale of the week. And they put on some very fast and furious para ice hockey so far. Neither side, however, yet to yield a goal. Czech Republic have come closest through Michal Geja. Japan looked good on the break, and they've made some nice approaches, but yet to really trouble Michal Vapenka in the Czech Republic goal. We're more or less there then at the end of the first period. Last effort coming in courtesy of Kubek. And there we have it, the horn sounds. Czech Republic 0, Japan 0 after the first 15 minutes. Very tight affair, which must be expected after both teams came into this game on the back of 3 wins each in their Paralympic Winter Games qualification campaign. Closest moment of the match coming courtesy of Michal Geja after wonderful play from the Czech Republic. Geja, especially in the form he is in this week, really ought to have scored. However, Shinobu Fukushima and Japan came through unscathed, and that means after the first 15 minutes here in Ostersund, it's Japan 0, Czech Republic 0. We'll be back with the second period at around 10 minutes time. Support up alongside him as well. It's not effectively
for breaking her heart. Now I'm free, free falling.
They go for one, do it slow.
Yeah, I'm free.
Slammed into the board on the inside by Sudo. Coming up very soon against the Czech Republic if Hori doesn't get there. He'll be fine. One of them is Kubek, back for Geja, and somehow he can stick it home. One of them is Kubek, back for Geja, and somehow he can stick it home. Bearing down, could give the Czech Republic first blood, and Howard bearing down, could give the Czech Republic first blood, and Howard the Republic with the best chance of the game. It's loose from Vapenka, Annika. Well, Czech Republic with the best chance of the game. It's loose from Vapenka, Annika. Well, by Šafranek. Šafranek is through, not a great angle. Finds it straight into Fukushima by Šafranek. Šafranek is through, not a great angle. Finds it straight into Fukushima. Looks to pass Wagner as well. Slams on in from the pocket. Looks to pass Wagner as well. Slams on in from a good foot. Really trouble. Michal
tried to make my world the way she thought it should be. Yeah, we were desperate then to have each other to hold, but love is a long, long road. Yeah, love is a long, long road. There were so many times I would wake up at noon, yeah, with my head spinning round. I would wait for the moon and give her one more chance to try and save my soul, but love is a long, long road. Yeah, love is a long, long road. Yeah, it was hard to give up. Some things are hard to let go. Some things are never enough. I guess I only could hope for maybe one more chance to try and save my soul, but love is a long.
Hello and welcome back to the Ostersund Arena for the final game of the week here at the Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games qualification tournament for next year's Paralympics in PyeongChang. Japan and Czech Republic have already sealed their place at next year's games. They are playing here for the gold medal from this week. They are tied at 0-0 so far. The deadlock yet to be broken. However, it should have been by Mikael Geir midway through the first period. A really good opening for him. However, he couldn't quite get his bearings right in front of Shinobu Fukushima's goal. These two sides certainly like to score goals in a week filled with goals. 48 goals so far this week going into this final match. The Czechs have scored 14 of them, and as for Japan, they've got 13. So prolific in front of goal, not too bad at the back either. However, it is the defences this time around who are taking the initiative and managing to shut out the opposition. The puck has dropped. Let's see if anything changes in the next set of 15 minutes. Been a pretty quick game. Both sides had it hammer and tong. Could be argued that there is nothing at stake and that a gold medal is just a bonus, but the primary target is of course to get the spot at the games next year, but these players are certainly keen on the colour gold around their neck. Early effort fighting from Geir there, well foiled by Fukushima. Fukushima, the oldest player at this tournament, 60 years old. made his debut at the World Championships in the year 2000. He's already played in 3 Paralympic Games. And he can make that 4 now. As he'll be in PyeongChang next year along with his Japan teammates. Japan do have a good record, particularly in recent years at the Paralympic Games. They got silver in Vancouver in 2010. And silver is a colour that they're quite used to. People World Championships in 2013, they got silver there, and of course they did last year as well on home territory. Once again in the Beeple World Championships, and that is because they lost by 6-0 against the Czechs in that final. Doesn't look as if it's going to be quite a stark scoreline as that here in Ostersund this time around. But Japan would look to change their recent silvers into a gold today. Here's Sudo making a rare venture forward and releasing Hori, who just slams it off the backboard. It's a funny spin on the puck there that took it away from Vapenka. He didn't want to move outside his crease, and it's not efficiently dealt with by the Czech backline either. Hori scooping it back into the danger area, and Yoshikawa couldn't get a stick on the end of it. And here come the Czechs now on the offense. Sudo at the back. Very quick with his stick handling, shifting out towards the near side. Havel back to help his defenseman, and the referee, the lineman, has blown his whistle because Japan have 6 players on the ice, and what will the retrospective punishment be? Will it just be a face-off? No, Japan reduced to 4, and now they've got 5. Hori off, so there is a 4-man outfield now for Japan. Annika sacrificed, and Takahashi will be the 4th player in the outfield. So a team foul against Japan, a pretty cheap one as well. That's the second one of the week. First one against Japan, and it's something that usually isn't too common an occurrence at international para ice hockey. Always a danger, of course, at making changes when the puck is near to your bench. Kubech, Japan can't get it clear. He tried to slam it back into the centre towards Gaio, who's always lurking. 90 seconds left of the Czech power play. The second one of the game. Japan, though, a strong defensive outfit, and they never seem to tire either. Goodness knows what their preparation and training concerns, because the upper body strength is something that takes a real hit in para ice hockey, especially when you're going full tilt like Japan often do. They press at the front. They make sure they don't play a retreating game of para ice hockey. But yet when it gets to the third period, they still have the steel and the upper body strength to carry on in the same vein as what they start the game in. 30 seconds remaining. The Czechs being shut out here. Matichka, has he run a bit too far with that? Yes, he has. Uiara. Well, he was chancing his arm there from the blue line, and that's probably the most tepid effort we've seen on goal this week. We won't want to see that one again. Closing stages of this penalty kill as far as Japan are concerned, and it's job done for them. Annika back on the ice. Nicely nudged inside for Raul, who didn't get a touch on the end of his stick, but Fortuitously for him, Pallet recycles it into the corner. Uiara once again back there. With him is Krupicka. Uiara eventually, after doing a bit of a tango with Krupicka, gets it away. Wagner now having to scuttle back to restart things for the Czechs. The 19-year-old goes from distance. Fukushima that spills it out almost into a dangerous area. Krupicka was keen to shut it down, but Fukushima closed out any potential mistake there with a solid glove on it at the second attempt. Been a good showing this week, though, from the Czechs, who not only used their gold medal last year at the B-Pool World Championships as a sign of retribution from being knocked out of the A-Pool, also managed this week as well to show exactly why they should be in the top level of World Para Ice Hockey. Lovely play as well. Geyer trying to work the angle, and it's saved at the near post. He does a backward roll as well for his efforts there, does Geyer, which can't be too easy when you're in a sledge with all that padding and the helmet on as well. I'd give that a solid 9 out of 10 there from Geyer. Pulls it back. Not a bad assist here for Abel if it comes to anything effective. Abel forced out wide, a big white plug in the centre, full of Japan bodies. Uiara one of them, as ever. The tenacious terrier at the back. Japan could eventually clear their lines, can they? The answer is no. Japan wanting to play their way out from the back, but there's not really any room to play with. The Czechs suffocating them and pressing them inside their own territory. Uiara ultimately does the sensible thing by getting it up towards halfway. Kubek goes from distance and it just bounces wide. I think there was an offside call anyway there, but you can see Geyer. Not bad execution with a shot. And his backward roll wasn't half bad either, was it? Talked about the revenge that might be a factor in Japan's performance today after defeat in 2016 in the B-Pool World Championship final. They also lost the B-Pool World Championship final 3 years previous to that in 2013 due to the Czechs as well. Finally in the balance at the moment, though, you really can't tell who's going to get the first goal in this contest. The Czechs have been slightly more on the ball than Japan in this period, but overall, as we get to the halfway point of the game, really nothing to split them. Usually you do get a game like this, which is the final game on the final day. Two teams have already done the hard work, they've done their job, and you feel like they can go out there on the ice and relax. Usually there's goals aplenty, but both teams steely in defence. Far from porous. Absolutely determined, whatever the cost, to get the goals that can complement their ticket for PyeongChang. Krupicka. Foiled by Nakamura, and then Takahashi is just pressed towards the board on the side with two red shirts around him. He loses that battle in the end. Nakamura. Already been pursued by Kubech. Rolls for Habel. Hits the backboard and well, Kaprichka there left it for the onrushing Dalashal, but it was intercepted by Kumagai, who got the final touch on the puck inside his own half. Therefore, icing will be called by the linesman. Six minutes left. Big contrast at the moment, not just on the ice but off it as well, between this game and the one we saw earlier between Sweden and Germany. Of course, that one was just a straight shootout, not just for bronze but also for that final spot at next year's Paralympic Winter Games between Sweden and Germany, and the host nation came out just about on top in the end, 4-1. Scoreline that does flatter the Swedes a wee bit. Doesn't give a full reflection of the game. Sweden went ahead earlier on in the second period. They were pegged back more or less immediately by Christian Jatzter of Germany. 2 goals in the first 2 minutes of the second period. Threw it right back level again. But Sweden, through Marcus Hall, got their necks back ahead before 2 late Per Kasperi goals sealed the deal for Sweden. Sweden will be joining these 2 sides that you can see in front of you now. And that's the 3 that progress further to the Paralympic Games. But we're yet to really witness half the excitement that was demonstrated earlier on between Sweden and Germany. No real surprise, nonetheless, though. A lot of talent on show. Some good stick handling from both teams, and it's not for the want of trying that they've failed to break the opposition down yet. It's always difficult when you are trying to predict a game between not just the 2 best attacks at the tournament, but also the 2 best defences as well. Defence definitely reigning supreme for both outfits at the moment. Raoul. Nice turn away from Kumagai. Surrounded by White though, and the third of them, it was Takahashi, actually wins the foul as well against Raoul, and off goes Yuri Raoul, the number 75 for the Czech Republic, who was introduced to the sport in 2008, in fact by Sednek Šafranek, the number 24 for Czech Republic, but he'll now be introduced to the penalty box following the challenge there.
Czech Republic, number 75, Yuri Raoul, 2 minutes holding time, 10:26.
Holding the call, 4.5 minutes left of period 2. First time Japan can enjoy the luxury of a power play. Uehara has got a bit of a gap here. Slightly took his time before firing one in. I think he was a bit hurried in the end, and the effort certainly offered a lot of pace, but not too much direction to trouble Mikhail Vapenka. Straight at him. But that save there does mean Japan still can exert some territorial pressure right in the heart of the Czech Republic defensive zone. Cleared long and away, and Sudo in a race with Geyer. Sudo ever so calm at the back. Goodness knows where his heart rate is, because he really is as cool as a cucumber. Here's the Japan captain. Uehara. Have they stayed on side? The answer is no. Takahashi going ahead of the blue line there before the puck did. Just to mark your card as well, after this game, the action may be over in terms of the para ice hockey, but the dignitaries will just be beginning, as we will have the prize-giving ceremony of the best goalie, the best defender and the best forward from this tournament, including, of course, the bronze, silver and gold medals, which will additionally be distributed. Bronze will go to the host nation, Sweden. Gold and silver, well, that's to be decided here. Kumagai eyeing up gold. Got a nice overlap there as well from Takahashi, and it was an inventive pass, but a very wise interception that prevented it from being executed. Sudo looking for the options in front of him. Takahashi again, busy on the near side now. Kumagai stretching to control, but manages to get the shot away right off the chest, ultimately, of Krapichka. 30 seconds left of the power play for Japan. Both teams now have had at least one power play, but neither have made the most of it. The team that has been down a player managing to be resilient and tough in the rear guard of the ice. Raul back on now. Pori away. Kubich with a long way to go in order to put his stick on the end of that. Dolezal ghosting around the back of his own net. Nice feed as well. Habel in the centre. Puck was behind him and fell for Uehara, who slams it out for icing. Uehara saying he was over the red line when he hit that one forward. It was a close one. Uehara disagreeing, but his arguments will yield no reward. The linesman making up his mind and sticking with it. Sudo. Nice play from Kubich. And here comes Gear spearheading the attack and scoring a wonderful goal as well. That is exactly what he's all about. Mikael Gear, just over 90 seconds before the end of period 2, has finally broken the deadlock for the Czech Republic. And if that is the goal that wins the game, then it is truly deserved of being the golden goal. It's his fourth for the tournament. And the Czech Republic now lead, just like they did in the B-Pool World Championship final against Japan a year ago. Czech Republic 1, Japan 0. Out of absolutely nothing. Welcome to the game, Mikael Gear. Been a bit quiet so far. He missed a great opportunity in the first period, but it was worth the wait, wasn't it, with a goal like that. He saved one of his best of the tournament for the last game of the tournament.
Number 74, assisted by number 7, time 13:21.
What do the Japanese have up their sleeve? Raul shoved into the corner, and both players there losing a stick and maybe a bit off their egos as well, because that was a lot of strength going into that corner. Uehara. Puck is loose and it's round 2. Raul in the corner with Annika. Comes out on top this time, does the Czech forward. into the dying embers of the second period, and I don't think it was just Japan surprised by that goal from Gay. I think we all were. Szafranek, nice offload. Tropiczka trying to burst his way through, and it's wonderful defensive work from Toshiyuki Nakamura that prevents the Czechs having a late scurry towards goal and doubling their lead. The puck is loose. I think Wagner will have the time to see this one out towards the hooter at the end of the second period, and there it is. The Czechs finally drawing first blood in this contest, courtesy of Mikhail Gaya. His fourth of the tournament. He was always going to take something special to beat Shinobu Fukushima in the Japan goal, and special it certainly was. He scored 5 against Japan in the B-Pool World Championship a year ago, firing the Czechs to gold on that occasion. His goal there may have just put the Czech Republic on top of the podium once again, ahead of Japan. 15 minutes until we find out exactly if that is the case, but the Czechs looking good. Czech Republic 1, Japan 0. We'll be back in a few moments' time with action of the final period of the final game here in Ostersund. First one against Japan.
You must think that I'm a fool.
First one against Japan.
You must think that I'm new
It's
to
Fukushima that spills it out almost into a dangerous area. Kaprichka, Raisaki, lovely play as well. Gaya trying to work the angle. And it's Raisaki, lovely play as well. Gaya trying to work the angle. And it's
time I
one that
open
just
up
flatters the Swedes a wee bit.
so I'm never gonna get too close to you, even when I mean the most to you, because you gonna leave me in the dirt. And every time you hurt me, the less that I cry. And every time you leave me, the quicker these tears dry. And every time you
scoring a wonderful goal
the
as well.
less I love you.
Here comes Gear Speed heading the attack and scoring a wonderful goal.
It's sad, but it's
Here comes
true.
Gear Speed heading the attack and scoring a wonderful goal.
I'm way too good at goodbye. I'm way too good at goodbye. I know you're thinking I'm heartless.
Lovely play as well, Gaya trying to
I
work
know
the
you're
angle.
thinking I'm cold.
Lovely play as well, Gaya trying to work the angle.
I'm just protecting my innocence. I'm just protecting my soul. I'm never gonna let you close to me, even though you mean the most to me. 'Cause every time I open up it hurts. So I'm never gonna get too close to you, even when I mean the most to you. In case you go and leave me in the dirt. But every time you hurt me, the less that I cry. And every time you leave me, the quicker these tears dry. And every time you walk out, the less I love you. Baby, we don't stand a chance. It's sad, but it's true. I'm way too good at goodbye. I'm way too good at goodbye. No way that you see me cry. I'm way too good at goodbye. Cause every time you hurt me, the less that I cry. And every time you leave me, the quicker these tears dry. And every time you walk out, the promise I love you. Baby, we don't stand a chance. It's sad, but it's true. I'm way too good at goodbyes.
Not trying to be in there, not trying to be cool, just trying to be in this. Tell me how you do. Can you feel where the wind is? Can you feel it through all of the windows inside this room? 'Cause I wanna touch you, baby, and I wanna feel you too. I wanna see the sunrise and your sins, just me and you. Light it up on the run. Let's make love tonight. Make it up, fall in love twice. But you never be alone. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. I'll hold you when things go wrong. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. We were shut like a jacket, so do yours too. We would roll down the rapids to find a wave that fits. Can you feel where the wind is? Can you feel it through all of the windows inside this room? 'Cause I wanna touch you, baby. I wanna feel you too. I wanna see the sunrise and your sins, just me and you. Light it up on the run. Let's make love tonight. Make it up, fall in love twice. But you never be alone. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. I'll hold you when things go wrong. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. Go give love to your body. It's only you that can stop it. Go give love to your body. It's only you that can stop it. Go give love to your body. It's only you that can stop it. Go give love to your body. Go give love to your body. But you never be alone. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right here. I'll hold you when things go wrong. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. I'll be with you from dusk till dawn. Baby, I'm right I've been on the low, I've been taking my time. I feel like I'm out of my mind. It feel like my life ain't mine. Who can relate? Woo! I've been on the low, I've been taking my time. I feel like I'm out of my mind. It feel like my life ain't mine. I don't wanna be alive. I don't wanna be alive. I just wanna die today. I just wanna die. It's you and your world and I'm caught in the middle. I cut the edge of the knife and it hurts just a little. Yeah, and I know, and I know, and I know, and I know that I can't be your friend. It's my head on my heart and I'm caught in the middle. My hands are tied and not tight enough. You're the high that I can't give up. Oh, and here we go. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. I got you're the poison in the wine, and I know I can't change you, and I won't change. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. Let's be lonely together, a little less lonely together. Eyes are shining, it feels like the first time. Before the rush to my blood was too much and we glide. Yeah, and I know, and I know, and I know, and I know just how this ends. Now I'm all messed up and it feels like the first time. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. At the bottom of the bottle, you're the poison in the wine, and I know I can't change you, and I won't change. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. Let's be lonely together, a little less lonely together. Let's be lonely together, a little less lonely together. Hands are tied but not tight enough. You're the high that I can't give up. Oh Lord, here we go. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. You're the poison in the wine, and I know I can't change you, and I won't change. I might hate myself tomorrow, but I'm on my way tonight. Let's be lonely together, a little less lonely together. Let's be lonely together, let's be lonely, less lonely
Hello, and for the final time this week, welcome back to the Ostersund Arena for the final day and the final game of the World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games Qualification Tournament. Japan here up against the Czech Republic in a repeat of the B-Pool World Championship final last year in Japan. The Czechs ran out that day 6-0 winners. Not quite as convincing for them today. They lead by a goal to nil in what has been a very tight tussle. No surprise either, both teams coming into this on the back of 3 straight wins. But for one team, it was always going to come to an end today. At the moment, it looks like Japan will be the ones losing their faultless record. The goal separating the two teams courtesy of Mikhail Geyer, and what a goal it was as well, flying past Shinobu Fukushima like a laser. And there was nothing the 60-year-old could do in the Japan goal to stop it. Japan will be hoping for a response. Both teams may have already qualified for next year's games in PyeongChang. However, there is still a gold medal at stake here. Don't forget as well, if you are watching on the live stream, that the closing ceremony and the prize-giving ceremony as well will follow immediately after this game. We'll find out who the best goalkeeper's been, the best defender and the best forward as well, including, of course, those bronze, silver and gold medals, which reflect as tokens of the top 3 teams' entry to next year's Winter Paralympic Games. Sweden got there earlier in a 4-1 win against Germany. These two, the Czech Republic and Japan, sealed their places yesterday. And they will be up alongside Norway, Italy, the United States, the host, the Republic of Korea, and Canada as well, the world champions. Once again, their coach Ken Babby is in attendance today. And you may have heard me say yesterday that he has been impressed with some of the outfits that have been on show this week, particularly the Czech Republic and Japan, who have been the 2 pace setters over the course of the week. He said they would not look out of place at all in the A-pool category, and it's hard to disagree with him. That will be music to the ears of both these teams. That is the ambition, not only to get to the Paralympic Games, that's now ticked off the bucket list, it's to get back into the A-pool and jostle alongside the elite of world para ice hockey. Something that Japan have never really been able to achieve. The Czechs have been there before. They've slightly slipped down the ladder in recent years, but over the last 12 months with the B-Pool World Championships last year and this week's tournament as well, they have really shown they are back and they mean business. Good early pressure from Czech Republic at the start of this 3rd period, but repelled efficiently by the Japanese. Kubek, who has been somewhat an unsung hero at the back for the Czechs. Now Dolezal, lovely reverse pass under the sledge, trying to find Geyer, but he knew he wasn't going to get on the end of that one. Left it for Palat instead, and the puck out for icing anyway. Sure you get involved with us at Para Ice Hockey, which is the Twitter handle, using the hashtag Ostersund 2017. Let us know what your favourite moment of the week has been, the best goal so far, and of course also your nominations for the best goalkeeper, defender and best forward as well. It'll be interesting to see what you think. A few contenders for those 3 prizes on show here in the rink today as well. Very surprising if at least one of these players on show were not included in those individual honours. But it has been great to have so many people tuned in and engaged with the live streaming this week of the Para Ice Hockey. And we certainly hope it's got you all fired up and ready for next March, PyeongChang, with the Winter Paralympic Games. Para ice hockey, one of the para sports for me that still managed to keep the main elements of its regular format, the pace, the speed, the strength is all there, and the excitement as well. Japan trying to scramble in the equaliser. Goodness knows where the puck is at the moment. There's a big scuffle for it in the crease, and it was only a matter of time, wasn't it, before the referee halted play, because nothing was materialising there apart from carnage. The Czechs doing their best, not just to protect the puck, but of course their goaltender as well, Papenka, who seemed to ultimately lay claim to that. That's his save earlier on from Annika. You see quick reflexes there, punching it away with the left fist, and then the referee blocking our view from the rear view camera, but the puck stationary, referee rightly blowing his whistle, and so we'll restart with the face-off. Uehara low and wide from him. In a decent tournament from Daisuke Uehara, he's got 2 goals to his name. Off the puck. His work seems to go unnoticed, but a very effective player for Japan. Sudo, ever present at the back, the Japan captain. Uehara, lovely play, it was left for Kumagai, he didn't read it. He stayed on the trajectory path he was on, he would have latched onto the end of that puck. Havel. Gear. Patient from the Czech Republic, waiting for their moment. We've got time to play with here. We've been 1-0 up. As long as the possession of the puck is with them, doesn't really matter how quickly they shift it. Havel fires it into the mixer. And it's stopped by a combination of two white shirts before it reaches its intended target, Geyer. Dolezal, composed as ever from him, but hasn't quite found an outlet. So the puck will go out for icing. We mentioned some of the ever-present players for Japan, including Satoru Sudo. One player who's unfortunately not been with the Japan team this week is Eiji Misawa, who is also a big part of the Japan back line. He suffered a broken collarbone on match day 1 in the 6-2 win over Germany, and he had to fly back to Tokyo the next day. So we wish him well in his recovery and hope to see him with his Japan teammates back on the ice at the Paralympic Games next year. Havel dumps it forward, the chase on for Geyer. Will go out for icing if it's untouched before the red line, but I think Nakamura there was forced into playing that due to Geyer behind him. Here's Geyer now. Always a menace, should I say. Matichka. Back for Geyer again. Floating around and then pinging it into the hash mark area. Flex away. Japan not really showing the attacking dominance that we've seen so often this week. Coming into this game on the back of scoring 13 goals. But they have offered very little over the course of the 39 minutes we've had so far. Nakamura scampering back. Uehara there ahead of Szafranek, and then Nakamura picks up the second pickings. Japan just finding it hard to play their game because they are not a team that like to just dump it forward. They want to play through the thirds, but the Czechs are receptive to that, and they make sure they plug the gaps and prevent any fluid Japan movement forward. Nakamura, no one in front of him, and that was because Japan were making the change at the time. It probably wasn't timed very well from the Japan bench there, because they did have a glimmer of an opportunity in the offensive third. Szafranek. He spotted Krapicka, who will slam one in. It rolled on the end of the puck rather than flat. But it went wide of Fukushima's goal, so there was no problem for him there. Uehara almost leaving the puck behind him. Not quite as effective as he has been in previous games. Dolezal up against Hori. It's great to see some of the best players of the week locking horns in this final game of the tournament, and still wearing their hearts on their sleeves just as much as they did on match day 1. Confirmation of their place at the games next year has already arrived, but that gold medal still meaning a lot to both of these teams, who would view that award very much as a fitting accolade to cap off A tough week, but a successful one nonetheless. There's Geyer. Look at the room for Kubek. Just couldn't quite bring it under his spell at the first time of asking, and Kumagai back on the ice and with purpose as well. Wins the puck at the first attempt, then slides in for the second, but lost a stick, and that halted his progress as well as Japan's. Habel, really good strength from him. And almost supplying a wonderful feed as well for Kubek, who was stealing in at the far post. Neither team has created too many opportunities in the third period, but the Czechs have took the sting out of the game and they've had a lot of possession. They've pinned Japan back, and when Japan have had possession, they've really scrutinised them. And it's on that basis, you would say, Japan currently not worthy of being the gold medalists in this tie. Czech Republic, good value for it. Kumagai, slammed into, and again, another example of the intensity of the Czechs' play. There's a couple of players down on the far side, a bit like Skittles. That one already was down Habel, then he took Kumagai with him. Kumagai with it now as he's eventually got himself untangled from that scenario. Uehara, nice play from him, and the vision to find Kumagai, who may have to go alone here. He's been forced back by Geyer. Sudo's on the overlap, and Sudo's idea was clever, but it was unsuccessful. There will be a penalty against the Czech Republic coming up now. And that is for interference, and it is from Szafranek, it seems, the captain. 2 minutes off the ice for him. That's 2 penalties apiece now. In fact, going off will be David Palat. Always a menacing sound, that, isn't it, when the cage of the penalty box closes. The firm slamming of the door there from the technical judge on the near side, occupying the penalty box. Japan with a route back into the game with a man advantage. However, the first power play they had did nothing with. Need a stark improvement on this occasion. Uehara has it back. Goes into a central position. It takes a deflection, and that could have gone anywhere. Szafranek, fortuitously for him and his country, took it the right side of the net. Uehara now. He goes for a low effort. Krapicka blocks without really knowing too much about it. Szafranek trying to slam it away. Still not clear, and for the first time in this period, Czech Republic looked reasonably uncomfortable at the back. Can they be punished? Over the bar it goes from Uehara. Surprised he managed to get so much uplift from so close to the goal. It smashed the glass behind it. And there are 40 seconds and counting down on this power play. Have we seen the best from Japan in this 2-minute spell? Kadoma, angle not favourable. Nice offload back, but Kubek read it. And again, it's clever and sensible and prudent from Kubek, who does the right thing by dumping it into the corner. And Japan working from the back. Time not really on their side in this power play, and that pass wasn't either. Habel picking it up. He's lurking around the second puck as well. Wagner back on, and at full strength from the Czech Republic again. It was Wagner number 11 that was off, rather than David Palat number 77. I do apologise for that. The font on the Czech Republic shirts do have a bit of a serif flavour to them when it comes to the ones, so they do look like 7s. Yeah. See the save there, and also you've got a glimpse as well of the medals that will be offered at the end of this. Looking pretty shiny, aren't they? Japan and the Czechs will definitely get either a silver or a gold, but as it stands at this moment in time, the colour for the Czech Republic will be gold. Don't forget the medal presentation coming up after this game. Two and a half minutes then, and the final 2.5 minutes of a wonderful week of para ice hockey. A great advert for the sport, not just in the quality of the play, but also the heart and the desire shown as well from all 5 teams. It's unfortunate that 2 had to miss out on next year's games, and of course some other players have missed out too. You can see the shirt there of Misawa, and look at the support for the Japanese team as well. Herbeck, another injured player, unfortunately coming through scathed from this week, but no doubt he will be back at the Paralympics with his Czech teammates next year. Japan have called a timeout, chance for them to not just admire their flags on their team bench, but also take on some words of wisdom from coach Kojin Nakakita for their final 2.5 minutes of their campaign. This is the goal that separates the 2 sides. Mikael Gehr, absolutely lethal, and that's got to be one of the goals of the week. Not just the distance away, he was several metres away from the hash mark, but he had 2 white shirts around him, and the way he also switched from the right blade onto the left and darted handsomely past Shinobu Fukushima. He could not get a sniff of it. Good support from those who have made the long trek from Japan on the far side. The final bit of action here in Ostersund. Will it be a fitting end to a tremendous week? Of course, the players have made it what it is. The spectators, when they've been here, have been loud and proud as well. A lot of media attention from the respective nations involved in this tournament, and the volunteers. A big word for them, and a big thank you as well. You may have seen them on the edge of your screen on many occasions in red jackets, and they have helped to make the games what it has been. Always ensuring things tick along smoothly. And they have been just as efficient as the Czech team. So, as it stands, we'll finish this tournament with 4 wins out of 4. And not only have they used this tournament as a way of getting a qualification spot for PyeongChang, also getting a gold medal, but also actually saying to those in the A pool, particularly Norway, Italy and Korea, we are after you and we are determined to be on that podium. Although he almost conceded there for Penka, making a bit of hard work out of it. Just seemed to slip through his body. Uehara ahead of Gehr. Two of the standout performers over the course of the week. Kubech, another one of them, but loses it out to Hori, and maybe there is a late flurry forward from Japan. Tried to pull it back for Kumagai. Gehr was back. Hori relentless, and then Dolajal is the one getting the stick on it that time, and he's trying to be provider for Habel. I think it's going to go out for icing. Indeed, it thought it had, but it hasn't. Play on, a minute to go. Uehara. Latichka bearing down on him. Amazing about these players, not only are they so skillful on the ice, and with the blades in their hands as well, but their energy levels. The intensity of this game right now, with 30 seconds to go on the end of a very grueling week for both sides, is as intense and furious as it was from minute 1 on day 1. And that is credit to both. It just shows why both teams have been so successful this week. They have that second wind. And they are able to recover after a game, but prepare in the right fashion so that they are ready mentally and physically for the challenges that are about to be thrown back at them. Two strong outfits and two worthy podium finishers this week, two worthy qualifiers for the Paralympic Winter Games. Sudo, it'd be fitting for him to get an equaliser, wouldn't it, the captain? As we tick down into the final few seconds, it looks like the Czechs have done enough for gold. It's been a tough affair, it's been a tight one. Not just today, but the week as a whole, and the Czech Republic have come out on top at the end of it. They win this one by 1-0. The goal from Mikael Geyer, and what a goal it was to win it as well. A thumper from outside the hash mark that Shinobu Fukushima had no chance of saving. A goal worthy of winning any gold medal game. And it is the Czechs that failed to reach the exploits they achieved against Japan a year ago in the B-Pool World Championship final. They won 6-0 that day, but I'm sure they'll be more than satisfied with the hard, grueling 1-0 win today. Big well done though to both teams for being able to qualify for the PyeongChang Games next year. It was well worth the long trek for Japan, wasn't it? Because they will make the short hop across the Sea of Japan to the Republic of Korea in March next year. The Czech Republic team will be there as well, as will Sweden, who have hosted this game so superbly. And they overcame Germany today by 4-1. Uehara winning player of the game for Japan. As I mentioned, not a player that necessarily comes out on top in the statistics, but he always gives his all, and he looks so comfortable on the ice as well. Moves around so elegantly and efficiently. And a very dogged, determined worker in the Japan ranks. And fitting that he gets applause from both sets of players and coaches. And player of the game, Karel Wagner of the Czech Republic, comes away from this week goalless. However, the 19-year-old, making his first appearance at a major international, has done himself proud and his team as well. He has been part of a very successful Czech Republic outfit, spearheaded by coach Jiří Bryza. And the Czech Republic programme growing and growing, and the Czechs will be at their third successive Winter Paralympic Games next year in PyeongChang. Both defences do deserve a lot of credit as well from this game. It's quite ironic that the two highest goal scorers coming into this game, the Czechs on 14 goals and Japan on 13, would take part in the lowest scoring game of all. But still an entertaining one, nevertheless. So both sets of players shaking hands at the end of the final game of the week. Do make sure you stick with us. The prize-giving ceremony is just moments away. You may be able to see on your screen in a few moments' time the red carpet being unveiled, and it will be the opportunity for us all to commend and appreciate the quality that has been shown, not just on the ice over the course of the last 5 days, but off it as well. Best goalkeeper, the best defender, the best forward. Those are prizes on offer, as well, of course, the bronze medals that will be given out to Team Sweden, the silver for Team Japan, and gold for the Czech Republic. We hope that you at home or wherever you've been watching around the world have enjoyed this week just as much as we have here in Ostersund. It's been a great example of the true spirit of para sport and also the exciting nature of World Para Ice Hockey as well. It has definitely lived up to expectation and surpassed it. And you can just see with the respect being shown at the end of the game here how much the players can lock horns on the ice and be with each other hammer and tong for 45 minutes, but as soon as the final hooter sounds, there is an awful lot of mutual respect between all the nations concerned. You can just see there the Czech team shaking hands with their coaches. Big credit to 41-year-old Yuri Brezak, as I mentioned, the Czech Republic head coach. He talks so much about how important preparation is. And the Japan team just taking the applause from the far side and the near side as well. And rightly so. We'll be back in PyeongChang. And how can you not look forward to seeing them again? If you haven't already, do make sure you follow the official Twitter handle of World Para Ice Hockey, @Para Ice Hockey. You'll find all the latest news and information ahead of the Paralympic Games next year in PyeongChang, and that is where we look next, because the work here on the ice has been successfully done by the 3 qualifying teams who will progress. Just a reminder, Sweden getting through earlier, the host nation here at the qualifying tournament in Ostersund. They beat Germany by 4-1. If you didn't catch any of the game earlier, I do recommend you watch some of the action, particularly in the second and third period, because it was some of the most exciting para ice hockey that I've seen in my career. Japan are there as well. 3 wins before today's defeat to the Czech Republic, and the Czechs themselves coming out of this week without a blot on their copybook. 4 wins from 4, and they will be joining the reigning world champions, Canada, the United States, the runners-up from that April World Championship final earlier on this year in Gangneung. Also, Norway are there, Italy are there, and the host nation, the Republic of Korea. And it's good to have representatives from all over the globe. A fair share of European outfits will be making their way to the Republic of Korea. 2 Asian teams there as well, and believe me, the Republic of Korea aren't there just because they're hosting the Paralympic Games next year. They are well and truly there on merit as well. They had a super World Championships earlier on in the year, making the bronze medal final. Japan, the latest to come onto the forefront in Asian para ice hockey. As we now have the figure skating girls from Castor making their way onto the ice with the flag of the International Paralympic Committee, followed by the flag of the host nation, Sweden, of course, and also the 3 medalists, Sweden with bronze, Japan with silver, and Czech Republic with gold. So the 3 medal-winning teams will soon come onto the ice. It's convenient that Japan and the Czech Republic have just played, so they just have to sit on their benches and wait for the call to re-enter the rink that they left only a few moments ago. The Sweden team are here as well, away to my left, just outside the rink at the moment, but they'll be welcomed onto the ice, no doubt, in the not too distant future. So the team's now being welcomed onto the ice. Japan being led behind their flag by their captain Satoru Sudo, and you can see the Sweden team here as well. They've had a few hours to reflect on their thrilling success earlier against Germany. For so long in that game it looked as if they were in serious jeopardy of missing out for the first time ever on a Paralympic Games, but they came up trumps. Marcus Holm put them 2-1 ahead at the start of the third before 2 goals from Perka Sperry put the icing on the cake after Germany had gone all out to try and get an equaliser, which is all they needed to qualify. But Sweden just had that little too much against their European rivals. Also got told by Erik Wikström after that it's the first time ever at a major tournament Sweden have scored 3 goals in a period. Wasn't a bad time to get them. They'll know they'll need a little bit of improvement. They weren't as good as they could be in their first 3 games, Sweden, which is why they had to go to this final day decider, but I'm sure now they've got this week out of the way. They've avoided potential banana skin on home territory. They can go to PyeongChang, enjoy it, and maybe surprise 1 or 2 teams along the way.
Best players of the tournament.
Now the best players of the tournament to be awarded, starting with best goalie.
Number 5 in Sweden, Ulf Nilsson.
And is it any real surprise? Ulf Nilsson will be the one taking the plaudits. One of the highlights of the week for me was his save against Japan on Tuesday. That was Sweden's first game. Somehow he kept out at Masaharu Kumagai from close range. There's a picture of it on the IPC website, and it was quite incredible. Presented the honour there by the World Para Ice Hockey manager, Barbara Kahutova. And a word for her as well. Superb organisation in order to make this event possible, and also as flawless as it has been here in Ostersund.
Best defender, number 2 in Japan, Wataru Hori.
Wataru Hori called up for best defender. Seems a little bit surprised by that, perhaps humbled by the award, but 2 goals and 5 assists. And the assist column really the telling one, because a defender is there to defend and then to provide the attackers with something to feed off as well. And he did that to a T. Anders Venneberg from the city of Ostersund hands over the accolade there to the Japan number 2.
Number 74 in Czech Republic,
Mikael Gaye wins best forward, and rightly so as well. I'm sure his success there in that category was aided by his goal in the gold medal game. One of the goals of the week. And there he goes to claim his award from the chairman of Jämtland Härjedalen Sports District Federation, Jan Bergström. Well, if you were making a 5-a-side team in para ice hockey, you wouldn't mind having those 3 there, would you? Ulf Nilsson, best goalkeeper; Wataru Hori, best defender; and Mikael Gaye, the best forward.
Prize to the team. Bronze medalist.
And now it's time for each of the teams to claim their medals. And Sweden this morning perhaps could only have dreamt of being in this position.
Number 3, Niklas Ingvarsson.
I woke up earlier
Number 5,
knowing that
Nilsson.
a win was
Number 6,
all they could do
Nilsson.
in order to claim the prize.
Number 7, Göran Karlsson. Number 8, Per Kasper. Number 9, Martin Magnus. Number 10, Robin May.
So here come the players,
Rasmus Lundgren.
and
Number 14,
some
Jens
from the
Jonsson.
younger age
Number 15, Christian Hedberg.
of the old age spectrum, some at the upper end of it, but they do gel together well to make a very good team. And one thing you notice about the Sweden team as well, they've got great spirit, despite the fact they've lost their previous 3 matches. Coming into today's Saturday showstopper, they really had to make sure they stuck together, and they did that. Their aim was to make sure that at the end of the game against Germany, it was their national anthem that was being rung around the Ostersund arena, and they ensured that would be the case by the end of it. So credit to Sweden, and a big well done to them for their bronze medal and their qualification to PyeongChang. Eric Wikström, the coach, now receiving his medal, and he's only being in charge of the national setup for the last 3 months. And he had quite a job to do after the World Championship. Sweden were very thin on the ground in terms of squad numbers. They had to make sure they executed a bit of a rejig in the Sweden programme. They brought through some young blood. They've kept some of the experience as well, and ultimately it has boded well for them today to go through for the 7th successive time to the Paralympic Winter Games. And let's not forget, their 3 defeats earlier in the week were all by 1 goal. They lost by 1 to Japan on Tuesday. They lost in overtime to Slovakia on Wednesday. And then yesterday, in one of the games of the tournament, they lost 4-3 to the Czech Republic. Japan, 3 wins for them. Their only defeat coming today against the Czech Republic. And they'll now come forward for their award, led by captain Satoru Sudo, who it cannot be said enough how much work he has done for the Japan team. I'm glad he was more decisive during the games this week than he was there. He was unsure whether to go to the Czech players first and give them stick taps, or to the Swedish players. But a lot of contenders in the Japan ranks to get some of the awards that were given out today. Special mentions to Masaru Kumagai, the number 96. He got 4 goals this week for Japan. A couple of goals as well for Nao Kodoma. Daisuke Uehara also secured 2 goals to his tournament tally this week. And of course he won player of the game as well for Japan today. Watu Hori, with those 2 goals, making him the best defenceman of the week. The Tokyo-born defender made his debut a year after starting playing para ice hockey, which is quite incredible. Thrown straight into the deep end at the 2013 B-Pool World Championships, where of course Japan got a silver. Silver the colour once again for them today, just like in 2010 at the Paralympic Winter Games in Vancouver, also the B-Pool World Championships in 2016 as well as the B-Pool silver medal position in 2013. But at least they're featuring on the podium. It shows they're up there. They will be wanting to push the programme on further and further in the next few years to ensure that Japan are back amongst the elite of the World Para Ice Hockey world. Teams aren't getting weaker at the top, but the ones below them are definitely getting stronger. There's your final standings. Looks very impressive if you are of a Czech Republic persuasion. Not just the wins column with 4 out of 4, but look at that, just 4 conceded. 3 of them coming against Sweden yesterday. And 15 scored as well. And the 15th from Mikael Geir, probably the best of the lot. You can see how close it was at the bottom between Sweden, Germany and Slovakia. Slovakia out yesterday, but only falling short by the 2 points. Germany will rue their big missed opportunity today against Sweden when all they had to do was draw. So of course up next will be the gold medalists. Played for, won for, top of the tournament tree.
Czech Republic.
Ceremoniously securing their PyeongChang 2018 spot. And deserving of their gold as well.
Number 11, Karen Wagner. Number 17, Jan Matusek.
Led by
Number 24,
Captain Zdeněk Šafranek, who, as I mentioned in commentary, actually got a couple of the Czech Republic players that are here now on their roster to actually get into the sport in the first place, particularly the man who's standing there on your screen wearing number 75, Yuri Raul. He was introduced to the sport in 2008, was Raul, by Šafranek, who is a true leader. The Czech Republic. And you go past the Czech Republic dressing room after a game, they blast out the rock music, they are loud, they are proud to wear the red of the Czech Republic. And they have quality on the ice as well, they've got the heart, they have respect from other teams, not just the other 2 teams that we have here on the ice now. Sweden, of course, and Japan joining them on the podium, all shaking hands with the gold medal winning team. But even a side like Slovakia, who are trying to advance their para ice hockey program, I've looked at the Czech Republic and thought that is the right model to follow, and that is an avenue that we will pursue in order to grow bigger and bigger as a para ice hockey nation. And that is testament to Czech Republic, who have done an awful lot of work in the past decade to put themselves in and amongst the best that the para ice hockey world that has to offer. It's the 3rd successive Winter Paralympic Games for them. And they'll be hoping that the momentum they can construct from this tournament and also their gold medal winning campaign as well in the B pool championship will be a token of further dominance for them, perhaps for the Paralympics next year. So a big congratulations to the Czech Republic, fitting and deserved winners of the World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games Qualification Tournament.
Please welcome Municipal Manager
Now,
Ostersund.
a few speeches from our dignitaries to close this tournament, starting with Anders Venneberg from the city of Ostersund.
The city of Ostersund would like to thank all of you participants.
The players, all the teams, the organization, volunteers, and of course the International Paralympic Committee. We wish you all good luck, very good luck in PyeongChang 2018, and are very happy to have been able to host you here for this event. We hope to see you soon again, and we wish you all the very best. Thank you.
Anders Venneberg there, passing over the microphone now to Veronica Mulhofer.
Please welcome IPC Veronica Mühlhofer.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. At the conclusion of the 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games Qualification Tournament, I want to congratulate the 3 medalist teams for their placement in this competition, but more importantly on qualifying for the PyeongChang 2018 Paralympic Winter Games. I also want to thank the local organizing committee, Parasport Jämtland, Härjedalen, the Swedish Parasport Federation, and Swedish Paralympic Committee, and the city of Ostersund for hosting such a wonderful tournament and for their great commitment to parasports. We really look forward to coming back here again in the future for more exciting events. A big thank you goes as well to all the volunteers and staff working behind the scenes to make this tournament happen. Thank you also to all the on-ice and off-ice officials. And of course, I want to thank all the athletes and team officials for coming here. I want to congratulate you on a well-played and competitive tournament and for your commitment to and passion for Paralympic ice hockey. I wish all the teams the best of luck in their next competitions, and to the qualifiers a lot of success and a fantastic experience in PyeongChang. Now I declare the Ostersund 2017 World Para Ice Hockey Paralympic Winter Games Qualification Tournament closed.
Veronica Mulhofer there from the International Paralympic Committee, closing the games officially once and for all, and I think it's fair to say that we all got our fair share from this week. So there you go. The next time we will hear that anthem is at PyeongChang next year at the 2018 Paralympic Winter Games. We now know the 8 teams that will be competing there: Canada, the United States, the Republic of Korea, Norway, Italy, Czech Republic, Japan and Sweden. A big well done to all the 3 teams that have managed to progress to the Games next year. Until then, we thank you very much for watching. Good evening and goodbye.